Okay, I think we're good. Thank you all for joining us today to talk about transformational partnerships and entrepreneurship. You are going to be hearing from a few folks today, and I am going to share my screen here about just that. We have partnered with so many different individuals and organizations, and we're very excited about our partnership with Washington County Community College. And today you'll be hearing from Nicole Sawyer, who is the Dean of Workforce Development and Community Engagement at WCCC. And you'll also hear from one of our Pathways participants and aspiring entrepreneur, Nicholas Boulette, as well as Rhonda French, who is senior business faculty at WCCC and also an active partner in curriculum delivery for our Pathways programs. And myself and Shane Renshaw will be your facilitation team today. And Shane will be monitoring your questions in chat. So as we get rolling, feel free to pop any questions you have in there, and we'll definitely have time for Q&A at the end. So without further ado, Nicole, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Denise. Good morning, everyone. When I was thinking about these two questions, I'm going to flip them because I think the how it came to be sets the stage for what it is, really. So Partners in Entrepreneurial Pathways really was developed out of a late night idea where my sleepless brain wondered why we offer a course that could be exclusively taught by all of our technical assistance providers that we work so closely with around small business development and entrepreneurship. And thought about how that would have additive features to our current programming in entrepreneurship and business studies, and how we might be able to offer that course or series of courses at no cost to make it super accessible and attractive to folks who are aspiring entrepreneurs. And so I presented the kind of wacky idea at the time to the group of technical assistance providers, who all said, yes, absolutely. This is a great idea. We'd love to help you with it. Let us know what we can do. And then Denise and I started chatting about it. And I think part of that is our super strong partnership that we have with Sunrise County Economic Council. And that's been years in building, but is something which I lean on, and WCC leans on, and actually SCEC leans on us as well, to do these real cool and innovative projects that have been so successful. So, and at the same time we started talking about this, the Machias Valley Entrepreneurship Center was becoming. And it made sense for us to move forward with this. And with the help of some of our funding partners at Maine Community Foundation, we were able to start thinking about this in more depth and fleshing it out and designing courses. And it turned into 28, I think, contributing partners. And so you can only imagine the legwork that might go behind pulling together 28 contributing partners and speakers who are different potentially every week for an 11-week course section. But lo and behold, we have the amazing Denise Silly, who is our wonderful adjunct behind that work, and is the lead adjunct on the courses, as well as and Denise has this marvelous way of turning sketchy visions into miracles. And at the same time, we also have just a rock star faculty member who embraced this idea and saw it as additive to her business department at WCCC, and the results are there really. And so this was a way to promote entrepreneurship and small business development on a larger scale as a real viable career path to the population at large, really talking to middle school students all the way up to people who are already in business and may need some tweaking. So they are 3 credit courses essentially, but they offer really the ultimate in flexibility for the learner because they're available virtually live, but also can be accessed through a recorded asynchronous version as well. Learners who aren't interested in a 3 credit course can take sections or pieces of the individual sessions. And that has really provided a wonderfully robust learning environment where you have someone who's thinking that they might want to aspire to be an entrepreneur and start their own business, mixed in with people who are very successful entrepreneurs. And I think that that's been a really, really, really wonderful experience. I think as you hear us talk about this, there are some themes that you will continually hear. And just based on the little bit of talking I've done so far, I think you can probably identify some of those words. And that is partners, pathways, access to post-secondary education, flexibility. Really, this access piece, I think, has been essential. This has been a way for us to allow students and learners from across the state and actually nationally to connect with our essential network partners who are providing these essential entrepreneurial opportunities and technical assistance. And so it's been a really great connection there for everyone. We've also, we have run, you can switch on to the next slide if you want, Denise. And Denise, please jump in wherever. And probably the last of my slides would be a good one for you with all of the data and wrapping things up. But we created essentially 2 courses, a 1.0 that's the venture exploration, and then a 2.0, which is really the launch or beyond the business plan, actually, is what it's called. But we started the 1.0 in the fall of 20. So all of this has been accomplished also during a pandemic, with so much uncertainty around us, with really great success. And so we've really learned a lot from the scheduling and to the content, to the delivery and the modality and all of the flexibility that has really, for us at WCCC, been a wonderful gift to allow us to do more of this type of work with all of our students. Each course had micro credentials, or what we call badges in the community college system. Each of them had 4. Students can choose or not to participate in the badging process, but badges are a digital way of showing that a student has achieved a certain level of skill or a competency in a specific one. And as you can see in the 1.0 venture exploration, we had the 4 business basics, business strategy, financial concepts, and then the final one, ready, set, startup, which I believe was the culmination of a business plan, right, Denise? Yeah. And so 2.0, you can switch if you want. beyond the business plan also had 4 badges attached. These also were our first badge developments at WCCC. Obviously, we're the smallest of the 7 campuses, and we lack some of the capacity and resources to do some of this work with building badges, because they do take a fair amount of time and energy and resources, but we have them, and Denise did a wonderful job with those, and I cannot remember what the total number was, but I'm looking. I know it's on one of these slides. 36 people collectively achieved 141 digital badges, which is really awesome. And we're super proud of that, and super proud to have been partnering with Machias Valley Entrepreneurship Center, which through this programming was able to launch its delivery of training virtually, in the absence of an actual building. And again, all through COVID. So Denise, I'll let you jump in if I've.
No, you've done a great job, Nicole. And when you said about allowing us to also offer, our collaboration in partnership for these programs, and we'll get into, center updates a little later on in the presentation, but I just wanted to acknowledge that a lot of the attention that the entrepreneurship program received because of this partnership and the collaboration, it really helped move the center construction process and planning along as well, because people, came to the table and were really excited about being involved. So there's so many ways that this particular partnership has really benefited the Entrepreneurship Center and SCEC. And Nicole, do you want to touch on some of these? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I mentioned that we had 28 partner organizations coming together to provide weekly lectures and resources and networking opportunities, which was essentially 50 different individuals from those varying partner organizations. I also mentioned that things are super flexible. We did have and do have further early college access, as well as folks who really faced pretty severe technology restraints in rural Maine, but made this work. And now we are in our second full round. We're in 1.0, and we have a special project with Sumner High School, who has a high school level entrepreneurship course and has 7 maybe students actually taking this course for high school credit, and they're getting their credit, their 3 credits through WCCC. And we've also, the 1.0 counts as a business program elective, should someone wish to matriculate into the business program. And the 2.0 counts as one of the entrepreneurship courses. I can't remember the other one. And just recently, the University of Maine Machias is also articulating credit for both of these courses, which is just good stuff for individuals. I also mentioned some of the funding. Maine Community Foundation and us and SCEC sort of pooled resources to be able to offer these programs for free. And we really feel like that's a must going forward. It's really sort of one of the major details, but foundational, very foundational to allowing folks to access the programming. And let's see, so last year, we had 139 individuals, 55 businesses served, 11 BIPOC entrepreneurs and students. We mentioned the badges. We also have 38 students who are currently in reentry facilities or incarcerated in other Maine Department of Correctional facilities. One thing that you may not know about us at Washington County Community College is that we are what's called a second chance Pell institution, the only community college in the state and only the second post-secondary institution in the state who has specific programming to increase post-secondary access and attainment in partnership with the Maine Department of Corrections. So this was a natural place for us to be in offering this. And we're super proud of the partnerships that happened with Maine Department of Corrections to allow students to attend the sessions and make some of the technology work there. So, and that programming continues and expands daily, and adjuncts like Denise and other faculty like Rhonda French are integral in that programming continuing. And then a really cool thing when we talk about access to post-secondary education, these experiences allowed people to experience college in a way that perhaps they never would have, and allowed them to succeed in completing college credit and attaining college credit and attaining digital badges. And we had 8 students matriculate into our certificate or degree programs just from the first round. So we're really excited about that. As this says, we have 49 participants currently in the fall 21 1.0 cohort. And we'll be running the spring one soon. We've run some other offshoots. Some of you may have seen the Business of Maine Lobster, which was a partnership with Machias Valley Entrepreneurship Center, Ready Seafood, Acadia Seafood, and the Maine Lobster Dealers Association, really trying to connect folks with career pathways in the distribution of Maine lobster. Everything that happens to the Maine lobster post-catch, and the style and the delivery of that course was literally mirrored after both of these courses. So I don't know, Denise, if you have anything that you would like to add.
As you were talking, Nicole, thank you for sharing all of that. As you were talking, I was thinking about the early college participants, as well as individuals who are in reentry transitions, and just the success that we've had with being flexible to accommodate, technology access, whatever the barrier may be, and getting creative with it. So being entrepreneurial in and of itself with the programming in ways such as, allowing people to individually work on their own business plans. But if in a classroom setting or in, another population setting, if there's that desire to earn credit, but someone might not necessarily have an idea, or taking on a full business plan, it's a process, and it can be intimidating, and allowing people to work together as groups on different components. So the same learning is still achieved, but in an approachable and accessible way. And we try to be flexible with all of with meeting the learning outcomes in any way that we can to allow people to participate and earn college credit, and ultimately build self-employment acumen. So thank you, Nikki, so much for sharing all of that. And I appreciate your partnership and your willingness to get creative with us and do really cool things. We would love to hear from one of our Pathways participants, an aspiring entrepreneur, Nicholas Boulette. He has taken part in, I believe, all of our entrepreneurship programs, as well as Business of Maine Lobster. So Nick, without further ado, we'd love to hear from you about your experience and your startup dreams.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Boulette. So yeah, I've taken all 3 of the classes offered there, the Entrepreneurship 2.0, the Business of Maine Lobster, and I am currently taking the Entrepreneurship 1. I started taking the Entrepreneurship 2.0 while I was incarcerated. I was a new student at Washington County Community College. Thankfully, the Department of Corrections was, willing to allow people to, which is something, honestly, I never really thought of going back to school and stuff. Um, so as I started taking this class, I really didn't have a, I didn't have a business idea in mind at first, but as I started thinking, I was getting ready to start my reentry back into society and stuff to go. So I came up with the idea of trying to get involved with sober housing or transitional housing. Became that was kind of the idea I was looking to pursue to help other people in my boat. And through this path, through this entrepreneurship class, to develop a business plan and help me really look at the strengths I had that were going to help me pursue this, and also the weaknesses and areas I needed to work on. And not only just the weaknesses, but how to ways to pursue further training. So like on my release, I got into a sober house, and I'm a house manager there, so I'm active in that sober house. And that's another thing I learned in that class, was to reach out to competitors, see what's out there, kind of model yourself after businesses and stuff, and really see how it's done and get to know the business. So yeah, and I'm also active in a recovery community, trying to develop some more skills. But the class, it really taught me a lot of. The first thing I thought going in is, well, I have to know everything to be able to successfully run a business. But the fact of the matter is, nobody knows. You have to reach out for help. And not only did they provide, well, these are the resources that are out there, but we actually got to meet within class people from marketing, for the financial aspect of things, to the business development people and things like that, mentors from SCORE, different things that I had no idea of, never heard of. And got to look at what resources would, really took some time to look at what resources would help me start my business, what who to reach out to, and how to contact these people. And even specific, actually in the class, we were a lot of these people who are still willing to help out going further, and yeah, now I'm out, still kind of working on the same business plan. I'm still definitely in the idea phase, but I feel like I'm in a good place. I know what I need to do, and I'm still actively working on. I've learned to, like I said, look within their industry. So I've contacted Maine Association of Recovery Residences and working with some of the other sober housing in the area to try to learn more about the business before I dive in head first myself. My business plan keeps changing, because I definitely don't know where I'm going, and that's another thing I learned. The importance of being flexible with the business, and how the business plan's a living document. Keep working on it, keep moving forward. But yeah, I definitely found the course to be very useful, and also just having that opportunity while being incarcerated to and try to actually, because honestly, I without that I may never have started college, and or it allowed me the opportunity to set goals for myself, and try to get on a trajectory to where I wanted to go. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nick. And I just want to say very proud of you and what you're up to. And also it was reassuring to hear you say working on your business plan that's a living document. I know you've been listening because we talk all the time about it always being in draft mode. So thank you very much for joining us and sharing your story. And I hope to see you in future programs as well. It's a wonderful student and lots of great plans. Thank you. And now we would like to hear from Rhonda French, who, as we mentioned, is Senior Business Studies faculty at WCCC and also very active in curriculum delivery for all of our pathways options. So Rhonda, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I've been fortunate to be a business instructor at Washington County Community College for the past 30 years. Also have taught part-time for the University of Maine at Machias. And, but I'm exactly where I want to be at Washington County Community College. And I've seen a lot of changes over these last 30 years. And some I have found myself maybe dragging my heels a little bit on when different things were brought up, because you know how change is a little scary. But I have to say, when Nicole and Denise approached me about some of these different initiatives, and they both have a wealth of ideas, and it amazes me. And when they approached me, I was on board immediately, because I just saw it was such a win-win-win situation for everyone involved. And it couldn't have happened at a better time, because WCCC's business program, associate degree business program, was granted in February of 2020 to go fully online. And what we had noticed over the past several years is that there was a decline in enrollment, because not everyone can drive to Calais to take classes, but there was an extreme interest in online classes. So it was approved in February of 2020, and that was before we knew what was coming, soon coming. So we have seen the highest jump in enrollment in our business program since this has happened. And a huge part of that is because of these, the pathways. And one of the things that in our program that we always try to do is to have guest speakers who are professionals and know exactly what they're talking about and can share with students how to start their business and different things they need to know. And with the pathways, they have the luxury of meeting 50 different people who are out there in the field and who are successful and who are doing this. And not only spending that 3-hour time frame with them, listening to them, but also the networks that have been created. And Nick alluded to that just a little bit of how that he's amazed that he can still keep in touch with these different individuals. So it has been such a huge success in our program. And selfishly speaking, we have seen approximately 9 students who have matriculated into our business program because of these pathway courses. So it has been wonderful for our program as well. And I also wanted to mention that Nicole had also talked to me a few years ago about the reentry program, the Pell Second Chance. And she asked me if I wanted to be part of the implementation team. And I have always been about second chances, third chances. I've needed I've needed plenty of second chances myself in other areas. So I joined the team and had 3 students from one of the reentry centers, and was pleasantly surprised that one of those 3 students was a former student of mine at WCCC, who she says herself made a few poor choices, but wanted to right those poor choices. And she actually finished her associate degree in business management while she was incarcerated, and was entered the community shortly thereafter. So she actually graduated in May of 2020 with an associate degree in business management, and super proud of that. And I keep in touch with her, and just a great success story. And from that, I was also asked to take part in a 9-hour training with the Maine Prison Reentry Network. And I took that training, and through that training, I realized how valuable this is, to give these potential students an opportunity to gain more skills that will help them once they do re-enter. And I have to be honest, they are some of the absolute best, most diligent students that I've had in my program over the years. And it has been a huge success. And I certainly am not supposed to name names, so I won't. But one of our students, who was in that first class, I actually nominated her for Washington County Community College Student of the Year. She was one of the nominees, and she's been amazing. She's been super successful. And then another one of my students who is currently a student, at the end of each school year, each program is asked to nominate 3 students in my case, both of my programs, entrepreneurship and business management. And one of our current students received the award. It's only awarded to one student in the program for outstanding achievement. And super proud of him as well. So we've just seen, like I said, I can't say enough. It's a win for Washington County Community College, SCEC, and Nicole with workforce development, all of these opportunities that have been made available, and we've gotten excellent feedback. It's gotten attention, not just locally, but within the community college system, and statewide, and like Nicole says, even outside the state. So I just can't say enough about the program, and appreciating the opportunity to be a part of these exciting initiatives. And I always have to do a commercial. Anyone who knows me knows that I have to do a commercial. I traveled from Jonesport to Calais for 28 of the 30 years that I've been teaching, have commuted. Now I'm teaching online during the pandemic, so I'm not doing the commute. And the reason that I did it, as corny as it might sound, I always tell the students, you're worth the trip. And the college is worth the trip. I'm very proud of Washington County Community College. And Denise is one of our graduates. Denise spent her first 2 years of post-secondary education at WCCC in our business program, and then transferred on for her bachelor's and then her master's degree. So she is one of also one of our success stories. She's my daughter, so I can say that too. So thank you for letting me be a part of this. And if anyone has any questions at all and would like to put them in the chat or get in touch with me via the college email or telephone call, I would love to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda / Mom. And I was going to mention that I started my college journey at WCCC, and I've always said openly and freely that I could not have gotten a better start. So it's definitely a gem in Washington County. All right, so let's see here. So now I want to briefly touch on, for those of you, I know many of you have been hearing about Machias Valley Center for Entrepreneurship. Maybe some of you haven't, so I wanted to provide a brief overview, and then we'll move right into questions and see what Shane might have lined up for us from the chat. So Machias Valley Center for Entrepreneurship is a small business hub coming to Main Street in Machias in 2022. We've definitely shared publicly that it was coming sooner, but as you can imagine, there have been a lot of factors that have slowed that down a bit, but we have not lost momentum in planning. And as you'll see in a later slide, we're starting, some of that work. You'll see movement on Main Street before the end of the year. So it's exciting. What the center will provide is open co-working. So community members, center members can work in an open and shared environment independently or collaboratively. We'll also have access to high-speed broadband, private offices for monthly lease, and meeting spaces for folks to conduct their meetings or just work in a quiet environment. One of those meeting spaces will be a conference room. We'll have shared office equipment, meaning like a shared high-end printer, scanner, fax option on both floors of the center. We will have a shared kitchen space for kitchen amenities, a refrigerator, microwave, free coffee, which I'm really excited about, and tea, and a place to host events that we will have eventually at the center. We'll have 2 patios off the back of the center, and we'll also have on-site technical assistance providers that will be based at Machias Valley Center for Entrepreneurship. The first floor, none of these colors are set in stone yet. This is just to show the overall layout. Here we have the conference room, meeting spaces, and this is the open co-working space here toward the river side of the property in the shared kitchen. And I'm sorry to move through these quickly. I just want to make sure we have time for a few questions. The second floor, you'll see we have our private offices here, and we'll also have a designated desk lounge. And what that is if somebody doesn't want to commit to leasing a private office, but they want their own space where they can leave a monitor, keyboard, their equipment, the lock and filing cabinet, they can lease their own desk in the open lounge that overlooks Main Street. So a little bit about project timeline and funding. We're currently in a hazardous substance assessment that's in process through December. Demolition, I mentioned that movement you'll see on Main Street. Demolition is slated to be complete by January of next year, with construction beginning as soon as the season allows, and going for about 8 to 10 months, and then we'll have a grand opening. Project funding based on October 2020 estimates, and we realize COVID definitely impacted pricing since that point. But based on that, the construction is fully funded. We do anticipate some cost overruns when we get our updated estimates, and there's still time to contribute. If anyone is interested, definitely get in touch and we can chat about it. So with that, I'll say thank you for joining us, and thank you to our panelists. And I want to immediately move to any questions we might have. So Shane, do you have anything for us?
There are no current questions in the chat. So
Okay.
Would like to ask a question? Please do so.
Yeah, feel free to unmute and throw something out there.
I have a question.
Right.
Are there any plans to expand to a Callis Center?
So we don't have plans yet, but we have certainly talked about that. And a big part of that is our partnership with Washington County Community College and the wonderful resources they have there. And Sunrise County Economic Council now has an office location in Callis. So we do see that as a clear next step if the opportunity opens up.
Absolutely.
Question.
Thank you.
Denise, this is Jean in Eastport.
Hi, Jean.
Hi, how are you? So you're Rhonda's daughter?
I am. Can you see the resemblance?
I had Rhonda as a teacher way back when, and I was the only volunteer student in her accounting class. Everybody hated me. But anyway, Denise, are there any high schools in Washington County that are interested in having a class? You mentioned that Sumner is signed up, but it seems like we could get something going here in Washington County.
We would love that, and we're very open to that. We at the center and the entrepreneurship program have not conducted that outreach, and we need to. We've relied on WCCC's wonderful connections, but we feel like this initial involvement with Sumner will be a great basis to continue that outreach across Washington County and potentially even beyond.
Right, it would be a good point for principals or guidance teachers to perhaps visit.
That's a great point. Thank you, Jean. We'll definitely look into that.
Okay, thank you.